What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, we have some news on the global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise, with the information of more Super Evolution characters arriving extremely soon to the game. We actually have an exact date and time when these characters are going to be available. These characters will be available from July 31st at 1900 PST time. That is the exact time that the limited rare recruit Hawkins banner will finish, and then we don't know what's next. Presumably at this point, because whenever a new Super Evolution comes out, it typically comes out at the same time as a Sugo Fest. I would assume that the Luffy A Sugo Fest is happening on the 31st of July, 1900 PST time, along with these two brand new Super Evolution characters. Yes, you heard that right, and you saw the title. Two characters are getting Super Evolutions at the exact same time on Global, and in this video we're going to be going over these two characters in particular, giving my thoughts and opinions, whether or not you should Super Evolve them, and well, let's just get straight into it. So currently I've time traveled, I've set my date forward so I can just see what's going on. When a lot of people ask, you know, when you time travel, can you do things? No, you can't do anything, you just see what is to come. There is nothing in the tavern right now. If you actually go to the tavern, there's no banner in the tavern right now, so we don't know what's next, but we can all assume at this point it is going to be Luffy A Sugo Fest. However, when we go to the Super Evolution screen and we scroll down, we're going to see Trafalgar Law is now able to be Super Evolved, which is awesome. This is the character that we all thought was going to be the next Super Evolution, and he is going to be one of the two brand new Super Evolution characters. So this is the stuff that you need to Super Evolve him. He does need one size skull, which I mentioned in the previous couple of videos that this character was going to be coming, and make sure you have that. And the 100% chance for ambushes will be returning as well. If you guys don't know what dates they're going to be returning, check out my other video that I made going through the new campaign event for the French anniversary. It has all the details there about that. So Trafalgar Law, let's go ahead and have a look at what this character looks like. His artwork looks magnificent. I really love this artwork. A lot of people, you know, think this character might have one of the best artworks in the entire game, and he definitely does. He's got really solid artwork. But let's go ahead and go through him. So obviously he maintains his side typing. He's still a slasher and a free spirit character. You can see he does have the limit break as well, transferring from his original 6-star version. His stats do get upgraded though. I've got the stats here on the side. He goes up to 1529 attack at max level, at an additional 210 with limit break, and then 3500 HP with limit break, 3100 without limit break. He's got really solid stats. His recovery is really high for some reason. His recovery is very, very high. However, his abilities don't really have anything to do with recovering HP at all. So I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, the fact that he does have a really high base recovery, but they don't do anything with it. So let's go ahead and go through his abilities. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to the database right here. It's a little bit easier to read for you guys. So we have the full database here for the 6+ Law. Now, Law's Captain ability will boost Slashers and Free Spirit characters' attack by 2.5 times, and then he boosts their attack by 3.5 after 3 perfects, and then 4 times attack after 5 perfects. He also will go ahead and recover 1000 HP at the end of each turn. So what they've done with this particular Law character is, in the previous iteration of Law, he would only boost their attack by 2 times, and then 3 times after 3 perfects. The 4 times after 5 perfects is still the exact same, but they've added 0.5 to this iteration and 0.5 to the second iteration of the attack multiplier boost. And that means that he does a lot more damage a lot more quickly. So this is a really nice buff to his Captain ability. Also the fact that he has the addition where he recovers 1000 HP at the end of each turn. So that is also quite nice. The fact if you run double Law, you're healing 2000, and then with auto heal you're healing 3000 HP with double Law Captain. He's a very solid free spirit captain. So if you are unlucky enough to not get Luffy Ace in the Sugo Fest, but you have this Law, he's a very, very solid unit to run as a captain for your free spirit or your slasher team. So he's a really nice buff to those two classes. Obviously he's got limit break sailor abilities as well, and his special ability is changed quite drastically as well. So we know that the previous Law had a multi-stage special. This one is just a one-stage special, and it makes damage and health cutting specials for all characters bypass all defensive buffs, and he deals 100 times his attack in side damage to one enemy, reduces special cooldown of all characters by 1 turn. and you see that his cooldown starts at 17 and maxes at 12 turns. Now, I believe the previous lore was a lot less than that. So I'm going to switch over right here. This is the original lore. So lore's cooldown is 16, but I believe he gets 4 turn cooldown from his limit break. So he starts off at a 25 turn cooldown, going down to a 20 turn cooldown, whereas this one is a 17 down to a 12 cooldown. Now, because he goes down to a 12 cooldown, you guys do realize that if you limit break him as well, that's 4 less cooldown as well. So he goes down to an 8 turn cooldown when you super evolve him with max limit break. Now, this kind of special ability on an 8 turn cooldown is quite phenomenal, making all specials bypass barriers. He also will go ahead and lower your crew's cooldown, and 100 times attack at an 8 turn cooldown is bonkers, man. That's crazy. So overall, he's a very solid unit to super evolve. If you have an additional size skull lying around, I would 100% go ahead and super evolve this character. He's a really solid unit to run on Neptune teams in particular, as well as not only does he deal a lot of damage on a low cooldown, he enables your Neptune specials to bypass enemy barriers. So you can go ahead and health cut the enemies, or if they're at a low health, you can go ahead and deal 200 or how many, 120, 100 times his attack as damage to the enemy. So Neptune is benefiting a lot from 6+ lore as well. He's a very solid unit. If you have him, definitely super evolve this character. The next unit that we're going to be talking about is going to be Jinbei. So Jinbei is an interesting one, and it's definitely not a super evolution we were expecting yet. I believe Jinbei in the grand scheme of things was the 6+ to come out after lore, but they are fast tracking it for us now. The thing is, this Jinbei was supposed to come out in the same month that the Gear 4 and Nami Legend were coming out in. So it's really weird that we're getting this now, but I'm not opposed to it. I think it's great. I just hope that we don't get a month, you know, where we get a break from 6+s. But this is awesome. We're getting Jinbei 6+ to One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. So let's go ahead and talk about this Jinbei. So Jinbei maintains his original int typing, and he's still a fighter powerhouse character. Currently, he doesn't have his limit break on Global. I believe Japan just got his limit break on their latest limit break update. So if you have duped Jinbeis, consider leaving them around if you're not really looking for Rayleigh points, so you can go ahead and feed them when he does get his limit break. His stats actually go up at a reasonable amount at max limit break, well, he doesn't have his limit break yet, but at max level, he gets 3980 HP, and he gets 1484 attack, 352 recovery. And let's talk about his abilities, because they have been changed slightly. So his captain ability is a 3x fighter attack booster, unconditional fighter attack boost. He also gives 1.5 times health to fighters, and he also reduces damage taken by 7%. All around, just a really good captain ability. Unconditional 3x attack, which is pretty much the stock standard these days. If you have a character that isn't 3x attack as your captain, then you're going to struggle in a lot of hard content. And also the fact that he's extremely tanky. You get 7% damage reduction, 1.5 times health. If you account for the fact that with damage reduction sockets as well, and you'll have auto healing as well, he's so tanky, and that's one of the great assets of Jinbei, the fact that he can tank so many hits really well. But let's talk about his special ability. So his special ability deals major int damage. Let's see here. It says 60 times his attack as int damage to all enemies. He'll also go ahead and change fighter characters' slots into their own type, all matching orbs for fighters, and also reduces enemies' defense up, which is the blue shield, and damage reduction duration, which is the rainbow shield, by 5 turns. 5-turn reduction for blue and rainbow shields to the enemy. So he definitely got a major upgrade here. If you guys remember the previous Jinbei special, he would give fighters a full board of orbs, however he makes perfects harder to hit. And it was super weird that they brought that character out, because then they brought out Kizaru, who was just like, give a full board of orbs to 2 separate classes with no drawbacks. So Jinbei definitely got the raw end of the stick with his particular legend character. They definitely made him a lot better in this instance here. In terms of his cooldown, I believe he actually gets less cooldown. With Jinbei here, he maxes at 14 turns, so this Jinbei will go ahead and max at 12 turns. So he gets 2-turn reduction with his super evolution, which is a really nice buff. Means that, you know, you don't have to be stalling as much for his special ability, and I believe it actually does way more damage. I think the last Jinbei special was, I think it was 20 times attack. I might be wrong there, but I don't think it was actually that much damage. So they've definitely upped the amount of damage that this Jinbei does as well. Now, unfortunately for us right now, fighters on Global are probably one of the worst classes in the game. They don't really get much of a buff until we get some characters like Colosseum, Jesus Burgess, Raid Lucci would be a nice one to have, and then obviously the V2 Sanji batch, and obviously V2 Gear 4 as well. So we're waiting for characters like that to make fighters, you know, really strong. As of Global right now, our fighters are pretty lacking. So this guy's going to help them out a lot, especially if we have to run like pure fighter content for Neo Clashes or Neo Colosseums. This guy's going to be your go-to man for that. And also knowing this, that Law and Jinbei are both getting their 6+s right now, it means that these characters are going to be trusty characters for the upcoming treasure map versus Zoro Sanji. So if you guys have these characters, highly recommend to farm up the skulls or spend the Rayleigh points for the skulls to super evolve them so you can have more point boosters for the upcoming treasure map. It's going to help you rank up a little bit easier. Both of these characters are fantastic and are definitely going to be very useful for the treasure map itself. So that's about it. That's kind of the whole thing that I really wanted to convey to you guys about these new characters that are arriving on the 31st of July, 1900 PST, likely going to be the start of the Luffy A Sugo Fest. We don't really have a full confirmation on that, but once we do get a full confirmation on what is happening on the 31st of July, I'll be making sure to make an additional video for that one as well. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you guys want to stay up to date with all the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.